Hey everybody, Old Man Van here. Getting ready to head out on my very first run in my new Asics Gel-Kayano 28s. They're a max stability daily trainer, and I'm really looking forward to getting out there and giving you my first impressions. Hey everybody, 1.8 miles into my first run in the Asics Gel-Kayano 28s. First thing I notice is just how luxuriously cushioned they are. Feels like it's got more cushioning than the DNA Loft and the Glycerin GTS 19 from Brooks. And it doesn't feel quite as responsive, but it really feels comfortable. You know, immediately I'm thinking, this is a recovery day shoe, a long, slow run shoe, a shoe that you'd want to wear, you know, when you're trying to let your legs recover, but still get in the miles. That's my first impression. Okay, we're back inside. Let's talk about some of the details of the Asics Gel-Kayano 28. This is a stability daily trainer. Whether it's a max stability or a moderate stability, I think that's up for debate. Neutral runners can also wear this shoe. I think this kind of fits right in the neutral to max category. I found that running in this shoe, I had plenty of stability. It was on par with the stability in the Hoka Arahi 5 and the Saucony Guide 14. A little more stable than the Brooks Glycerin GTS 19. Just felt very well kind of planted when I was running in it. But I didn't feel like I was being overcorrected. No torquing in there. It felt really comfortable. To the numbers on this shoe. 10 millimeter heel to toe drop, which is in line with the Brooks Glycerin GTS 19. It's kind of the max that I like to go with. The Adrenaline series from Brooks goes all the way up to 12 millimeters. And as I mentioned in my previous reviews, I think that's a little too much for me now. Some people might still, you know, kind of handle that, but I like the 10 millimeter heel to toe drop, especially in a shoe that I'm going to wear for recovery runs or those long, slow runs where your legs are kind of tired or they're going to tire out and you're going to heel strike more. Stack height isn't really that crazy. It's listed as 23 millimeters in the heel, 12 millimeters in the forefoot. That's not really crazy. I can tell you, it feels like it's got more of a stack height. Not from a lack of stability standpoint, but from just some luxurious cushioning. From a weight perspective, 10.9 ounces in a men's size 9. 0.2 ounces more than the Glycerin GTS 19, but still under 11 ounces. It's not the heaviest shoe out there, but it does feel heavier than the other three stability shoes that I've reviewed. I guess the best way to describe it is kind of like that old luxurious caddy back in my day, kind of a big, heavy, luxury car that you kind of get into, feels real comfortable, feels real smooth, almost like that big, nice, heavy blanket that you put around yourself. It's a little more weight to it, but it's really comfortable. Now let's go over some of the other details. Construction of the shoe, responsiveness, all those good things. Starting with the upper. This is another nice engineered mesh upper, very soft and supple. Doesn't require a lot of break-in, just like those other shoes that I've reviewed. Really nice and comfortable. As soon as you put it on, feels really good on the foot. As for the fit, I also think that this shoe fits true to size. However, what I noticed in this shoe is, whereas I have plenty of room in the toe box for my toes to splay, the midfoot is a little narrower than those other shoes. So at first it was like, wow, I can't cinch the laces down around my midfoot as much as I normally do. But it wasn't to the point where I felt like my foot was going to pop out of the shoe. It was comfortable, just a little bit narrower in it. Took me a little bit to get used to, but It really, really felt comfortable as I started to run in it. And I didn't have any foot problems, didn't have any rubbing or feeling overly constricted. So forefoot, toe box, really, really comfortable. Now moving on to the back of the shoe, you know, you've got a very, very well padded heel and ankle collar, more padded than the other 3 shoes I've reviewed already. Extremely, extremely comfortable and luxurious. I keep using that term. The tongue, really, really well padded tongue. The most padded of the 4 shoes that I'm reviewing, since this is the 4th. What I was able to do with this tongue is when I cinched the laces down over the top of my foot, I didn't feel like I had to loosen them because, oh, I got them too tight. So there's enough cushioning in that tongue to really protect the top of your foot and allow you to cinch it down better. What this tongue doesn't have, however, is it's not gusseted. So it's loose. So you'd wonder, well, you know, is that going to be a problem? Is that going to move around? Is the tongue going to move around and you're going to find it moving out of place? Because it's so thick, it didn't move out of place. Once I got it cinched down, it stayed put. And I think that's just because it's got enough heft to it, enough thickness, that helps it stay put. Laces were really good as well. Nice and flat. They don't have any stretch to them, which I like personally, because that allows me to get that lock down in those laces the first time out, and I don't have to play around too much with it. So really good job. They also weren't too long like the Hoka Rahi 5s, so that was a good job as well. I really liked them. I thought they were just the right length, gave me plenty of room to tie them down, even with being unable to maybe cinch down around the midfoot as much as I normally do. Sock liner, very, very comfortable. They call this system the 3D space construction. They gear the upper construction and shape to the gender. So if you're a male, you're going to get a certain type of fit for male feet. And if you're a woman, it's going to be somewhat different to better accommodate the majority of women's feet. What I did find is that it was very, very comfortable. When I put my feet in this shoe, it just felt like a glove, a nice, heavy, thick glove. So looking at the heel counter, you know, most of these stability shoes have a very firm heel counter that helps to keep your foot in place and helps keep your foot from moving around too much in the heel area. This heel counter is lower than on those other stability shoes, but it's got this TPU material here. You can see that wraps around the heel. It's a little taller on the medial side, and that allows Asics to have this heel counter a little bit lower and a little more flexible up top. I found that it still provided a very secure lockdown. I didn't feel any movement in my heel. Looking at the midsole, it looks at first glance, it's being a little busy, right? You've got this EVA foam up here. You've got this EVA foam down here. You've got this gel pad. On the heel side, you've got a little bit of a plate in here that runs under the midfoot of the shoe. Well, it looks busy, but I'll tell you, it all seems to work seamlessly together. So what you have here is you have, first of all, the dynamic dual max. I don't know if you can see this here. This white EVA foam material in the midsole, and if you look here, it's kind of angled up. It's more substantial on the medial side. That is a firmer material than this gray material here. It's firmer, but it's not hard. I can still depress it pretty readily here, but what it serves to do, when you come down on your heel, that helps prevent rotating too much on the inside. Also, something that tells you it's an Asics shoe is this gel pad here, that Asics gel pad. Listen, I haven't historically worn Asics running shoes, and the only reason I took this shoe to review is a viewer of one of my videos recommended that I take a look at this shoe, and I said, why not? Let me go. Let me try something I haven't tried before. So I went out and I bought this shoe, and hey, so far, so good. This gel pad, which is on the lateral side, what I noticed at heel strike, wow. Of all the shoes I reviewed to this point, this heel, this cushioning in this shoe dampened the impact the best. Moving on in the midsole, what Asics has done here is added their Flight Foam Blast EVA midsole material here. It's supposed to be more responsive, lighter, softer. It's very, very soft, I can tell you that. Very, very soft. I don't think it's quite as responsive as the DNA Loft in the Glycerin GTS 19, but it's really, really comfortable. Again, it's not marshmallowy soft, but it has a really nice kind of luxurious feel as you move through your gait cycle and your toe off. Now to the outsole. So Asics has put a new outsole material on this shoe from the previous version. It's called the AHAR Plus material, whatever that means. What their website says it's designed to do is be more abrasive resistant than the previous version. There's plenty of outsole material from a thickness perspective. It's extremely grippy. I noticed when I went out there, it almost felt like a real pair of sticky tires. You really could feel that grip. It wasn't a bad feel, whereas your feet were getting stuck, but it felt like, man, you weren't going to slip around in this shoe. At first glance, I think there's a lot of promise in this outsole, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to perform. Another thing I noticed in the outsole and with the midsole is you see these flex grooves here. This is a very flexible shoe. It's more flexible than the other 3 stability shoes that I tried. What it didn't give me, however, as the midsole didn't give me, was a real responsive toe off. I thought maybe with the flexibility, I'd feel a little more responsive at toe off, and I didn't feel that. So a very comfortable shoe. Like I mentioned, it's more like that big, luxurious caddy or that big, luxurious sedan cruising down the highway and, just a cocoon of comfort. That's what I feel like this shoe. I think the perfect place for this shoe in your rotation is for recovery runs and those long, slow runs where you don't want your legs to get beat up. I don't feel this shoe crosses over into those upper tempo or higher tempo runs. I don't think it's a shoe I'm going to reach for when I want to go out there, kind of run that long distance, but I want to add some surges in. It's not the shoe I'm going to be reaching for. So how do I rate on my first impressions of the Asics Gel-Kayano 28? Well, I give this shoe a 9.0 out of 10. Why a 9.0? For the reason I just talked about. I think this shoe has a specific place in a runner's rotation, but it's not a versatile shoe. It's not a shoe I can do any run in that I want to do. It's not a shoe like the Arahi 5 that I can, go up tempo if I want a little bit, long distance if I want. I can kind of do everything. The Glycerin GTS 19, albeit almost as heavy as this shoe and almost as cushioned as this shoe, also is a shoe that has a little more pop and I can do a little bit more with. So this shoe I really feel has a specific place in the rotation. So for that reason, I give it a 9.0. We'll see after I run 50 miles or more in this shoe if that perception changes. So thanks for watching this video. If you got to the end, I really do appreciate it. If you liked it, down below, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, perfectly okay to hit the thumbs down button. I would ask for any constructive criticism, any suggestions to make my videos better, anything I can do to improve going forward. And hey, if you liked it and you want to leave a comment, that's good too. Hey, I almost forgot. Please hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified when Old Man Van posts more shoe reviews or other running related videos. So last but never least, remember, lace up your shoes and let's get out on the roads.